Welcome to Title Talk, a podcast for real estate investors where we cover tips, tricks, and trends in the industry.
This podcast is all about providing valuable insights to help you maximize your investment opportunities.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, Title Talk is the place to stay in the know and get inspired.
So grab your headphones, tune in, and let's talk title.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Hello and Happy New Year. I hope everybody is having a fabulous start to 2024. I am waiting for my partner in crime to join us, but super excited to have our first show of 2024, Title Talk episode 20, live and with you today.
Yes.
So let us know you're here, guys. We definitely want to make sure that you can see us, that you can hear us. Jamil is going to be joining us today from Canada. He's in cold country, and hoping that he can join us soon.
Can you not hear me, Dina?
So what do you guys want to talk about today?
Hello.
Let us know. Jamil and I definitely want to get your feedback and input on predictions for real estate and 2024, what's happening. What's been happening with me? Well, if you haven't noticed, I've been a little too busy to take down Christmas.
Can you see me, Dina?
So that's what you see in the background. I am still rocking Christmas and loving it because I'm one of those people that spends a lot of time decorating. And
can you see me?
I don't really like to say it's over, even though Christmas is technically over and we're into a new year. I'm still gonna own the fact that I love Christmas and I'm not really ready for it to be done. So I still have my tree up. It's actually transforming into a New Year's tree.
Hey guys, if you can see me and hear me, just write in the chat.
For some reason my mic got muted. I don't know what's happening.
I did it again. She doesn't know
what's going on.
Oh man. Okay,
we can see all you guys. She can't see us. I don't know.
I'll add her back. We'll see if this fixes it.
Okay. There. Can you see me, Dina?
Maybe we need to call her.
Okay, let me call her. Yeah, they can see us. Everybody can see us, but her. Let me call her. That's funny.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Are you there, Mike?
Oh yeah, we've been here the whole time, and I'm like, "Hi, Dina, I'm here," and Bobby's even like, "Hello, we're here," and you can't see me or hear me, but everybody on the chat can see us and hear us, but you.
That's so. I go out and come back in?
I think so. Try that. Yeah.
Okay.
That was fun. How you doing, Pops?
I'm doing great, man. I hit the gym. Look at that.
Oh, very muscular. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How's up north?
It's freezing.
I bet. How cold?
21 degrees Fahrenheit.
Sheesh.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's nice and 55 here.
55.
All right, she's back. Let's see. How about now?
Dina? Can you see us or hear us? No? What is going on? I wonder what she sees there.
Me too. Maybe I'll hop off of here, let you solo it, and I'll FaceTime her and figure it out.
All right.
All right, take it away.
All right. Well, Happy New Year, folks, and super excited for this first episode of Title Talk for 2024. I'm excited about what we have in store for us in the 2024 year for real estate. A lot of activity is being forecasted, and we've got optimism being projected in the markets from all sources, right? We're talking Bankrate, Redfin, Zillow, the Wall Street Journal. There is optimism in the market. Right. Hi, Dina. Oh, we see you. That is so strange. Hi, we see you. Yeah. Not sure. Anyhow, a lot of optimism in the market right now, especially coming into an election year, right? 2024 is an election year, and we always find increased economic activity in an election year. We see the administration typically is, um, very, very desperate for votes, right? Regardless of whether or not you're on the Republican side or the Democrat side, whatever that might be, there is always a push to stimulate the economy, especially coming into an election year. And we've had a tough 2023 with the Fed having increased rates at the rate that they had the increases. We saw activity in real estate dramatically come to a plateau. But something very interesting happened in 2023 that I think is very telling for what is going to happen in 2024. And I want you guys to take a little bit of this information down. So in 2023, we had what was described as the lock-in effect. The lock-in effect. And this is where people who had 2, 3, 4% mortgages actually stayed put. They retained their property. They didn't sell their property because, well, A, they have a really good rate on the property that they own right now. And making a move into a new mortgage or into new debt just wasn't attractive at 8%. And so people thought, hey, I'm just never going to let this financing go, not unless we see mortgage rates in the fives. And guess what? I looked at bankrate.com today, and the 30-year fixed is at 5.99%. My friends, that is incredible, right? So as you guys know, many of you may or may not be aware, but the actual 30-year mortgage rates, they're not directly tied to the Fed fund rate. I would love to hear and see how the economists in our crew right now that are watching, who in here knows or can tell me in the chat where the 30-year bank rate comes from. What is it tied to? It is not tied to the Fed fund rate. Can somebody tell me in the chat what the 30-year fixed rate is tied to? Super interested to hear your guys' opinions on where this rate is derived from. But the Fed hasn't reduced rates yet, right? Exactly, Kevin Miller. They haven't reduced rates yet, but they're signaling they're going to do that. Now, the 30-year rate is actually tied to the 10-year Treasury bond rate or yield. And that's where the 30-year rate is actually directly tied to. And so we've seen this rate now dramatically decrease, and we are at 5.99% right now on the low. And that is just incredibly different than 8% rates. And so those people that we saw exit the market because they're sitting on a 4% note right now, how likely will they be to trade out of their house if they can get a rate closer to 5%, right? If we're already at 5.99 right now and we've had no Fed fund rate drops yet, but we know that they're planning a minimum of 3 decreases in the coming year, could we see rates drop below 5%? Could we even get to the mid 4s? And if we do, what will that do to the real estate market? I'd like to just see some of your guys' predictions in the chat. What do you think happens if the rate drops to 4.5%? What does that do to the activity in the market? Edward Santana says the market is going to go crazy again. I absolutely believe that that's true. We're going to see a lot of pent-up demand start to become realized, right? And these people are all going to enter the market. They're all going to be super ready to make their moves, super ready to make their purchases. Ooh, do we have Dina back? Hi, Dina.
Hey, nothing like
Hi.
a little restart for 24,
We
and
missed
I'm
you.
amid predictions, which is cool. I love where
Yeah.
this conversation's going.
That was pretty funny though. We're gonna have to look back at the replay of this because there was like you were there and you couldn't see us, but we could see you, we could hear you. Everyone in the chat's like, we see all 3 of you guys. Me and Bobby are having a conversation. You're like stalling because you don't know where the hell I am. Meanwhile, I'm right over here doing that. pretty funny.
Nothing like an interesting start.
And we lost her.
Not again.
What is happening? Oh man, I think guys, it this typically works better when Dina and I are in the same room. But it is what it is. So
Gosh.
um, amazing. Here you are. We got you back, right? Can you hear me, Dina?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Wonderful.
Sorry, guys. I'm hearing
Uh,
it, even if I was on it.
Awesome. I think so I was just talking about some of the predictions on what will happen if we get rates close to 4.5% in the coming year.
Do you think that's going to happen? Is that your prediction?
Well, I've got a few things that I believe we need to be mindful of coming into 2024. Specific data points that I believe that if we have to really track in order to make sure that we're insulated in price, at least for 2024. These are the metrics I think we should all be tracking. Number one, months of inventory. Months of inventory is going to be an incredibly important metric to track, because like right now we're sitting at about 3 months of inventory in the Arizona market. What does that mean? Well, that means that we've got about 3 months worth of supply on the MLS right now, and that puts us in a seller's market. There's just not a lot of inventory available. Now, as that inventory starts to increase, because this lock-in effect that I was talking about earlier, where the people who were sitting on 3 and 4% mortgages weren't interested in selling their homes because they had such a good rate. Well, now if we get into the mid fours, we're already at 5.99%, Dina, and there has been no Fed fund rate drop yet. So if we're already in the fives, what does that do when the Fed drops their rate 2-3 times in 2024? Now, again, there's a really important distinction to make. Mortgage rates are not directly tied to the Fed fund rate. They're tied to the 10-year Treasury bond yield, right? But the 10-year Treasury is tied to the Fed fund rate. And so we will see that as the Fed starts to drop their rate, that yield will decrease, and that yield decreasing is going to decrease mortgage rates. But those people that were stuck in their houses, the lock-in sellers, if we start to see months of inventory climb to 4, 5, and 6 months, then I believe there'll be downward pressure on the housing market, especially in pricing. Okay. One of the other metrics I think is super important for us to pay attention to is days on market.
Mm-hmm.
So the two most important metrics that I believe we should be watching for 2024 is months of inventory and days on market. If months of inventory starts to increase and days on market starts to increase, I believe there'll be downward pressure on pricing in the housing market. If we start to see that days on market stays relatively static, and right now the average days on market is roughly...
I'm going to pull it up and show our group here. How about that? So
Awesome.
looking at Cromford Market Index, right? So we're talking days on market, 62 on average, which is down from 58 last month and down from 55 last quarter, and a little bit 68 last year.
Right. 62 days on market is not a lot,
It's
right?
nothing. I mean, you look at your average escrow is 30 to 45 days. Like
Exactly.
things are selling within a week or two.
Exactly. So I think 60 days on market is still, we still have a very strong seller's market that that gives us a lot more optimism, right? So again, if these days on market don't dramatically increase beyond 60 days, if we're not seeing that months of supply is increasing beyond 3.5 months, I expect that 2024 will be bananas. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to have a dramatic effect on our business as wholesalers. Okay. What does that mean? Well, that means that you and your buyers should be prepared to really ramp up your acquisitions, because your buyers are going to want to take advantage of all of this pent up demand that's sitting there, waiting to pounce, waiting to purchase property. And if you don't miss that, if you miss that boat, you're going to miss some very easy sales. And so the phones have not stopped ringing at Keegley. I've always said December 26th is one of the biggest days of a wholesaler's business cycle, because you're coming right out of Christmas, and the phones just went wild this year on the 26th of December. Keegley was open. We sold, I think, 9 houses that day in our corporate store, which was phenomenal. And we're continuing to see that demand just skyrocket. And so right now would be an incredible time for you to evaluate your acquisition strategies and make sure that you're dialed in for having very, very strong acquisitions for the next coming year, especially into Q1. Now, here's something that I want to think about with respect to what strategies might be the best going into Q1, right? So we see that a lot of sellers right now still haven't come to an understanding of where pricing really should sit for their houses. And if you look at the inventory that's sitting on the market right now, it is homes that have been overpriced for their condition. And that's where a real estate agent hasn't had an honest enough conversation with their seller to let them know that they're overpriced, right? So I think a lot of these conversations are going to start happening in 2024, and we'll start seeing those prices come down. So really, really great opportunity for you acquisition wholesalers out there to start having those conversations with these listing agents for anything that's 60, 90, 120 days on market. Now is the time, especially coming out of the holidays. Now is the time to go out and make those aggressive offers. Go have the conversation with the agent. Make sure you're dealing directly with the listing agents. Give them the opportunity to double end the deal with you. But that will help you get price acceptance. So agent outreach, still my number one acquisition strategy for 2024. My second favorite acquisition strategy for 2024 is AI driven direct to seller. Okay, now what do I mean by AI driven? I mean looking at data that has been filtered by different sources of AI, right? So looking at, let's just call it the absentee owner list. Let's apply filters like, have they canceled any magazine subscriptions? Has anybody in their family died? Have they had a divorce? Had they changed a phone number? Have they changed a mailing address? There's so many different behaviors that are predictive of a potential sale. And AI is now actually helping us add these filters on top of our lists so that we're not having to skip trace a list of 10,000 records to have conversations with motivated sellers. You can take these lists of 10,000 and apply these different AI filters on them and reduce the number of people that you have to talk to find motivation. One of the platforms that I've been using is called Dr. Deal Junkie, and it's just been giving us phenomenal results. We are 16 times more effective in our direct to seller approach by using AI filtered data in our direct to seller processing. Dina, what are you seeing?
Well, so I love both of
talking about. Yeah.
You're so funny. Like I literally was going to say agent engagement and direct to seller.
Did I lose her? Or did we all lose her?
Yeah, she cut out. Oh, she's back.
There she is. You froze.
Uh-oh, I'm still here. Hi. So I was talking about, I love both of your strategies. I would just say go all in on both of those right now. So the agent engagement, the building relationships with agents, guys, you can solve problems as a buyer. you can solve a problem for a listing agent who has inventory sitting on the market today, right? So some of you guys, may not know, but we do offer lists to help you kind of generate those conversations. So if you're ever interested in having an intentional conversation with an agent who's had a listing on the market for 60 days or 90 days or 6 months, and you want to be able to call and build a relationship based on their listing, those are really powerful calls. It's really easy for somebody to say, hey, I'll grab a coffee with you because you came at me and you paid attention to a problem and you're going to help me solve it. Because maybe now my seller is open to a cash offer.
Right.
Right.
Especially coming out of the holidays. I think that there's, always a decrease in activity from Thanksgiving through to Christmas and into the new year. And so the phones haven't been ringing, offers haven't been coming in, sellers become antsy at this time of the year, and they're way more open to a negotiation now than they were 60 days ago. So,
well, and plus the reality of it is a lot of them wanted to take their stuff off the market because they didn't want people traipsing through the house on the holiday. They didn't
right,
want the inconvenience. And it's an easy way to get less days on market is to say, okay, we're going to take your house off
right.
and we're going to go reset when the market changes in the new calendar year. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone. I mean, I think everybody in your community is really honed in on not being afraid to pick up the phone. But guys, this is when you make more calls.
Yes.
This is when you go deep with those
One of the
relationships.
one of the strategies that I think is really indicative of an inexperienced agent and an opportunity for you to take advantage of that inexperience to try to negotiate a better opportunity for yourself is look for those real estate agents that lowered price, that did a big price reduction between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Okay. Let's unpack that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a price reduction between Thanksgiving and Christmas is one of the most irresponsible things that you can do as a real estate agent because nobody's watching.
And you're inconveniencing your sellers.
Well, but there's just no, you have now reduced price and nobody is watching. Nobody is even coming through. Nobody's writing offers at that time. Nobody's coming through. And so forget the inconvenience, Dina. It didn't matter. It didn't cause the phone to ring more. It didn't lead to an offer. Nothing happened. And so now you've got this agent who has their seller reduce price 10K in the most dumb time to do it, but they didn't get anything for it, which makes them what? More motivated. So start looking at these little things that you can do to gauge motivation of the seller and see, did the agent make the mistake of reducing price between Thanksgiving and Christmas? And now would be a really ripe time for you to go in and again explain how they're still overpriced and it's time for you to, get real about the numbers.
I love that strategy. And I think what happens also with the seller's mind when that happens is they think that by reducing the price, they're going to get more traction, right? Because
Right.
they've already been priced inaccurately because price is based on demand, right? Your house is only going to sell for what somebody's willing to pay for it
Correct.
at the time. So they've made a sacrifice. They've come down from what they actually wanted on their property. They also think that's going to increase the traction. And so they're going to be inconvenienced thinking there's going to be showing. So they're always going to have their home ready. And none of that stuff's happening.
Nothing
Right.
happened. Exactly.
Nothing happens. And so, okay, they're not going to be wrapping presents today because they think that something's going to happen. They're not going to, they're totally inconvenienced and for no reason. So now their seller's frustrated and maybe they're more willing to look at things from a different perspective. So I also think this is a time where you can build relationships with agents because, I mean, they need you guys, they need different solutions for their sellers in order to stay, with a competitive advantage. And so the smart ones are totally willing to build relationships with investors, in my opinion.
100% agree. And agents now are more and more and more and more understanding and thirsty for these relationships, because again, when markets shift and the buyer pool changes, it's just like title companies. It's really interesting, right? I've been reached out to by more title companies in the last quarter than I have ever been communicated to by any industry in real estate. Why? Well, title companies never used to chase wholesalers down to try to do business with them.
Because they didn't know your numbers, first of all, right?
Exactly, right? They just weren't chasing the business. But what's interesting is Fidelity was really ahead of the curve on this, right? Because you guys realized that investor business was going to be how you continue to thrive in 2023. And we saw Fidelity make substantial investment in the relationships that they have with their investor clients, knowing that the investor pool was going to be how they continued to do business in 2023. And all the other title companies that kind of sat there and twiddled their thumbs thinking retail, they're now coming to the table saying, hey, can we be friends? But at the end of the day, right, a lot of relationships have already been established, right? I'm a Fidelity guy. I'm always going to
You're
use
very
Fidelity.
loyal.
I'm
Yes.
very loyal to the company. I believe you guys have done incredible things with us over the years to help grow our business and to help increase our footprint in the different markets that we're in. And it's important to establish and maintain these loyal relationships with the vendors that you're in business with, because they help you. As Dina had just said, Fidelity can help you with respect to your marketing. They can help you with respect to connections, networking, putting yourself in the right rooms to meet the right people. All of these happen because of the relationships that you can establish with your title company. One of those relationships I want to talk about, I actually finally had the opportunity to meet with the elusive Russell Black.
Ooh.
So you remember, I've been chasing that man around for what, 5 years? I've been
I
trying
think I
to get,
forgot that.
yeah, I've been trying to have a meeting with Russell Black. He's, guys, for those of you that don't know, he's a wholesaler. No, he's an investor here in Arizona. He buys all over the country, but he's an investor here in Arizona that's been he's really difficult to get a hold of. He's really
busy,
difficult
very
to talk
busy,
to. He's
yeah.
super busy, flying around the country all the time. I have literally been chasing him around for 5 years to try to do business with him, and just recently had the opportunity to sit down and have lunch with him. And he's a phenomenal guy. But that relationship was established, and I was able to create that relationship by the affinity through Fidelity Title, because he's a Fidelity guy. He works exclusively with Fidelity. And so this connection happened because he knew, okay, well, you're a Fidelity guy. I'm a Fidelity guy. If you're continuing to do business with you, if they continue to do business with you over the last 8 years, there's a reason for it. And so that relationship finally blossomed. And so, again, I owe that to Fidelity, because if he wouldn't have known, who I was, because he's not on social media and he doesn't watch television and he's just not that guy. So he wouldn't have known who I was if he had not been introduced to me through Fidelity. So really interesting, really fun way for you to expand your network is to really double down and leverage the relationships your title companies have with some of the power players in your market. Dina,
It's so funny. His broker, Carl Tenberg, has been my family friend for 25 years. Like,
wow.
I've been in his funny story. I've been at his New Year's party, and my brother crashed a golf cart. This was many years ago, but still very, very good friends, long term, and business for a long time. So it's a small world, when you really look at it, and the relationships definitely run deep.
So everything was okay after the lawsuit for the golf cart?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just playing. There was no
Yeah,
lawsuit.
my brother lived to tell about it.
He did.
Yes.
You
That's
know
a fun story. When you come over for dinner, we'll have to bring that one up.
You know about my situation with the golf cart, right?
Mm-mm.
How I got this scar
No.
on my arm?
No.
Well,
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. So a week after I got the boot off my ankle after breaking my ankle in Malibu.
Not from going to some weird jail or something, right?
No, I broke my ankle in Malibu hiking. And
Pretty close to
I
hike.
was in a boot for 8 weeks. Finally get the boot off, and Natalie and I go golfing for a friend of ours' birthday, and we're on the 17th hole, and Nat decides that it's Tokyo Drift, and she's a race car driver, and
I can see that like she's in a video game.
she
I can
flipped the golf
totally
cart.
vision that.
She flipped the golf cart, ejected me out of the golf cart. I landed, and I literally snapped the bone. So the whole thing was gnarly, disgusting. But that's how I got. So golf carts are dangerous, guys. Don't let people fool you into thinking that it's safe to be in a golf cart. It's not. You can die in those things.
So funny. People have just told me for years, Dina, you should just come play golf to drive the cart around and look pretty in the outfits. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of time to like go do a sport you're no good at, right? I think
Yes,
tennis is a better one for me, but
I love tennis. Well, you and I chatted briefly before we got started today, and I wanted to kind of go over some of the things that we think are important for you guys to be paying attention to in 2024. And taxes and your strategy for taxes is something that I think we don't make enough time for or room for in our conversations, especially as wholesalers. Now, some of the strategies that I'm implementing in my business right now to mitigate my tax liability is accelerated depreciation, right? This is where I purchase a property or a piece of heavy machinery and I accelerate the depreciation from 27 years and I take all of that depreciation up front. Now, the current administration is desperately trying to kill accelerated depreciation from the tax code. We're currently you can currently depreciate 80% of the total value, whereas
in the first
um,
year, right?
in the first year, where
So guys, let's just follow where he's going, right?
yeah,
Over 27 years, your car is going to be worth nothing at the end of the day,
correct,
right? So
correct.
you buy $100,000 car in 27 years, it's worth about zero. So you can take $80,000 the first year as a
Well,
depreciation on your
in the Trump
taxes.
administration, you could have taken 100% of the depreciation, right? And so the Biden administration came in and reduced that to 80%. Now it'd be interesting to see if we get an administration change again, if accelerated depreciation comes back, but still at 80%, accelerated depreciation is one of the most like incredible strategies that you can implement into your business right now. One of the other things that I'm seeing happen right now for rental properties is the shift away from short-term rentals into co-living and
Yep.
shared accommodation. And we've had guests on Title Talk where we've talked about pad split and the rise of this shared accommodation style of living.
Which isn't
Interesting.
new. It's just
No.
newer to us in America.
Yes. And it's something that's been happening in Europe and other countries and continents around the world, and it's just becoming popular in America. And I think it's becoming popular because we do have a housing shortage here, right? And so when you have a housing
Affordable
shortage,
housing, especially.
exactly, and affordable housing is definitely under attack. Private equity coming in and taking up a lot of the inventory available to just the average working class American. We have seen that my vacancy rates in my shared accommodation, my co-living houses, I'm at like 90% occupancy. And Dina, the rents I'm getting are significantly higher than what I would get as a short-term rental, mid-term rental, or long-term rental. Let me give you an example. I have a house right now in Maryville, which is a working class neighborhood in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a 6-bed, 5-bath house.
Well, you
And
made it a 6-bed, 5-bath.
we made it a 6-bed, 5-bath.
Yeah.
We constructed it for the purposes of shared accommodation, co-living. We get $1,000 a bedroom for each room per month. Okay, so now at 90% occupancy, we've got, I'm just going to do some quick back of the napkin math here, but 6,000 at 90%. That's $5,400 a month in gross rents. Okay. My mortgage payment on that property, $1,500.
Dude.
$1,500, right? So you guys can see the cash on cash return on these types of situations. Now, add to that mortgage pay down, right? Because I'm significantly cash flowing on this property. So I'm paying down the mortgage. My tenants are paying down the mortgage. I'm able to use accelerated depreciation on that property. So it's going to save me around $70,000 in actual dollars that I'm going to have to write to the IRS in taxes. So I'm cash flowing $5,400 a month minus $1,500. I'm cash flowing around, let's just call it $3,500 a month after all the expenses. $3,500 a month, multiply that by 12. That's $42,000 a month, a year, in cash flow. Plus, it saves me roughly $60,000 in my tax bill for this year, which is a total savings, a total net positive to my bank account of $102,000 for the year.
Oh my gosh.
Where
Amazing.
are you going to get returns like that?
That's like a nugget, guys. A huge one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. We got some comments in the chat. I think when we get Dina back here, I'd like to ask her to help us with this. But Josh Weiser asks, how do you keep a title company accountable? Your last deal didn't get a settlement statement until 12 hours prior to close. How do you mitigate that problem? Josh, that's a really, really terrible thing, right? And typically that happens because your title company is understaffed. If they're understaffed, they're not going to have enough people there to create the settlement statements in time, and people are rushing because they've got so many files on their desks. And so is it a problem that you, or is it abnormal to receive a settlement statement 12 hours prior to close of escrow? It's not the most professional thing, but I've seen it. I mean, I've seen that quite a bit, especially with really busy title companies. But I feel like when you use a larger title company like Fidelity, where they have the money to be well staffed and to actually have offices with people in it, that is a great way to mitigate these situations. So working with a world-class or a very well-capitalized title company, Josh, will absolutely solve that issue for you. Did you see?
I don't know what just happened, but I'm gonna go to my iPad if I lose you guys one more time. I feel so silly. I saw Josh's question about keeping the title company accountable. I mean, gosh, that makes my heart hurt. Like I don't personally understand how how those things happen. But I think it comes down to communication, it comes down to the relationship. It comes down to, I mean, having a single source escalation, like, I mean, for example, a practical tip, if you have to escalate something, know who it is that you escalate things to, right? So Jameel knows if he's got to escalate something, I'm one text away.
Yep.
And then that goes to our president directly, right? It's a one-stop shop when it comes to single source escalation. So they know they're not going to hear from me on things that really are not a huge priority or super, super important. I'm not going to abuse that privilege, right? I've earned it.
How often do I text you about deals?
It's happened one time,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even about a specific deal. It was about your team, and we were going through a crisis, right? And you wanted to know how to support your team during our crisis, right?
Right.
And how we can make sure that they are safe and comfortable with their transactions. And so, I mean, it was a great great way to communicate and get everybody on the same page. But you know who your person is that you can go to and get an answer quickly.
Absolutely. And again, guys, if you don't have a relationship with a title company, Fidelity Title, they are the sponsor of Title Talk. Dina would love to help you get connected to the right person, especially if you're in Arizona. If you're doing business in Arizona, we've got an incredible team that you can be working with. Dina, what would be the fastest and most convenient way for people to connect to you so they can be working with a Fidelity Title office, either somewhere in the country or specifically with our team here in Arizona?
Sure. I mean, email titletalk@fnf.com. And then in the subject line, if you just want to put, Title Talk, Arizona investor or Florida investor, that kind of helps me filter things. Because sometimes if it's a market I don't understand, I got to make some calls and figure out who the right source is in order to connect you appropriately. But if I've got a contact somewhere where you're doing business, I'm happy to refer you. But locally, I definitely have amazing relationships with investor friendly escrow officers, and I'm happy to personally make that connection.
Awesome. California B said, "Is this live right now or pre-recorded?" We're
We
live.
don't pre-record anything. You
We're
see
here.
all the glitches live. I don't know. My camera keeps going in and out.
Occasionally, I do run a live stream. Actually, most nights I run a pre-recorded live on my YouTube channel for those night owls that want to learn through the night, and I have some really good content that I think that if you are, awake all night long and you want to really dive in and do some like real learning, I do have live streams that run throughout the nighttime on my YouTube channel. But this is a live show that we typically do every other Thursday, and we're usually both together in Arizona.
Which we love more.
Yes, I 100% agree. It's just been travel, holidays. I'm in Canada. I got my little burrito in the hotel over here. She's resting while I'm on a podcast. But yeah, we will be back together live from AZ in the next couple of weeks, and I'm super excited.
Yeah.
And for our next
Friday the
episode,
19th, actually. We're going to do something. We're going to do Friday night fun with you guys.
well, should we talk about what we're going to be doing on that episode? Because I want.
Do you guys want to hear it? Do you want to know? I mean, let's see how many people want to know what's next for Title Talk.
Here's a question I'm interested to hear. How many or know the answer to? How many people in the chat right now that are watching? How many of you guys make a vision board for yourself in the new year? How many of you guys actively create a vision board for yourself once a year? And I have been. I don't actually make one every single year. The last time I made a vision board was in April of 2019, and I actually have my vision board in front of my toilet in my bathroom.
Okay.
And the reason for that is I want to kill two birds with one stone. So when I'm sitting there doing my business, I think, why not stare at my vision board and get myself primed and get all the images that I want in my head, to sink in, so that I'm doing two things at the same time, right? I'm like doing my business and I'm like creating my dreams. And so it is time for me to create a new vision board, because I've essentially accomplished almost everything on my original one. There's a few income goals there that I didn't quite hit, but I plan to hit very soon. And so I'm going to just bring those onto my new board. But if we got a lot of people in the chat saying that they do, there's a lot of people here that are making vision boards every year. So Dina and I and some of the Damji Media team, we're going to be having a vision board party, and we're going to create our own vision boards, and we want to see and share ours with you and have you share yours with us. So the challenge for the next time we have Title Talk is, if you have created a vision board or if you are creating a vision board, we would like you to email us at titletalk@fnf.com and let us know that you would like to have your vision board showcased on Title Talk. And what we'll do is we'll email you a link prior to the show. You can come onto the show, show us your vision board, explain to us what the images are. But I've got a few best practices for creating a vision board. Dina, before I tell mine, are there any things that you have as like non-negotiables on your vision board?
Well, so, okay, first thing I want to start with, for those of you guys who are watching this and have no idea what we're talking about, it's about manifestation, right? It's about envisioning your future self, your future life, and all of the things you want to include and invite into your life, right? So that's kind of what it looks like. And I will tell you my personal experience, you got to be careful what you wish for, and also um, be really conscientious of what happens around creating something like that. So, true story, I think it was 10 years ago, I was creating a vision board with a client who's also a personal friend, and I was consulting them because before I worked at Fidelity, I was had my own marketing and PR firm, and also worked with lots of different businesses, and this was a real estate team I was consulting, and on my vision board, I had cut out of a magazine the word fidelity because my vision for them was actually changing their partnerships to having Fidelity be their partner, because their current title company was not really um, the relationship just was, it didn't make sense to me. So what I was doing by putting that on the vision board was I wanted to build the relationship with Fidelity for this real estate team. But what ended up happening was through that relationship with Fidelity that I was building for this team, it transitioned into my job. So
Wow.
you want to talk about like manifesting things that actually do come to fruition. I mean, Fidelity was on my vision board for a different purpose, and it ended up to creating my career here at this company, which I'm very proud and honored to be a part of. So pretty special. I don't think they have to be any shape or size. They could be, how big is yours? How big is your bathroom board? I've never seen this
Yeah,
thing. So,
it's a poster size, just a
okay,
regular, school
poster board.
poster board. Yep. It is so what I've learned, because I've done some research on it, is that it's best not to be a very busy board, right? I've seen a lot of people's vision boards are just like full of hundreds of different images. And there is an inherent problem with that because your brain is not going to be able to absorb all of it. And what's the science behind a vision board, anyways? Right? It's not just like woo woo magic, like, oh, I'm going to stare at it and all of a sudden it's just going to ring my doorbell and wow, somebody's going to show up with keys to a new house or keys to a new car. And it's not how it works, right? Advertisers have seen and understand the subconscious mind. And what it is our subconscious mind needs to see an image 7, 8, 9 times in order for an impression to really take root in our mind. Now, think about it like this. You see an ad for Jersey Mike's, okay? And you see a billboard, and then maybe you see a commercial a couple days later, and then one day you're driving down the street and you're hungry. All of a sudden, you're like, "I'm hungry. I want Jersey Mike's." Well, advertisers have figured out that the brain requires the brain needs to see something 7 to 8 times in order for it to actually take root. Now, your mind will start to make connections on how to accomplish and achieve these specific things almost without you, right? And so it'll start paying attention to the opportunities around you, the people around you that are going to help you get to that specific goal. If you look at my vision board, it's actually kind of eerie because the house that's on that vision board looks incredibly similar to my home. And I made this board in 2019 and I didn't move into my home until 2020. The vehicle on that vision board, I bought it. The waterfront property, I got it. Losing weight, it happened. Like there was everything transpired that needed to transpire on that board. And it happened over a matter of 4 years? So it's super important that you do this for yourself so that you can find the connections that will get you to these specific goals or destinations that you're looking for, but don't overwhelm the board. That's why they say 5 images at most. 5 images at most. And the most important things to you are what you should be placing on there, because those are the 5 impressions. Those are the 5 connections that your brain will make in order for you to actually achieve these specific things. How many do you have on your vision board, by the way,
Okay,
Dina? I'm curious.
a lot.
A lot.
and
I
and I'm a clutter bug, so I think 5 is amazing. I would never be able to limit my things to 5, but I admire you for being able to do that. Your brain does something different when you're using an image versus
Right.
just a written word. So even like my one word, I turn that into a drawing, right? Like I have to turn my one word for the year into something that's like a picture, because then my brain is going to resonate in it and it's going to subconsciously prioritize making that top of mind. Like that's just how our brain works, which is super cool. And by the way, I love all the emails I'm already getting from people about vision boards. Like it's kind of already blowing up with subject line vision board. So people have done them, and they want to show it to us. So that's super exciting. So we're going to do that show live um, on Friday, January 19th.
January 19th. So just for curiosity's sake, are we going to make our boards during the show or show them?
Yes.
Because won't that be difficult to kind of navigate a show while we're cutting and
No, no.
pasting?
So we have homework to do between now and then because we're bringing our things to compose it.
Got it.
So we're gonna have all of like our ideas ready to rock by the time we go there. Now I will tell you guys, we're gonna put some people on the spot that don't necessarily know that they're gonna do that. So they're gonna show up to this vision board party, and they're gonna have a blank slate to work with. But me and you, we're gonna bring things from home. We're gonna have our things cut out ahead of time so we can help facilitate the show. And bring on everybody else. Bobby's going to be there. Producer Bobby's going to be there. That way I won't have technical difficulties. I'm very excited about that. And I do love the idea of also doing a picture board. So somebody put in the comments about Canva, and that is such a great idea. I have used my vision board as a screensaver on my phone before. I have created them with actual photos and used Canva in the past too. I think whatever works for you, and it makes it fun and easy. But Jamil and I were talking. It was like I think the night before Christmas. And we were like, how do we want to start out this year with Title Talk? Because he manifested this vision for Title Talk from being in the hospital for a surgery. And I think he was half lucid and half full of creative ideas and half stir crazy because he's like, get me the heck out of here. I want to go do something amazing. Right.
Yes.
So we were kind of brainstorming at what do we want to do for Title Talk and how do we set intention for this year and bring our community together in a place that just has true purpose. Right. And that's why we kind of wanted to start this off with vision boards.
Yeah, I think it's great, and it's an opportunity for all of us to bring to the table our deepest desires and to share that openly with others
Authentically.
and I think it's important, right? I think it's super important because um you know when people know what your goals are, what you're wanting to accomplish, and they truly care, you have no idea the types of doors that can get opened by the people that are standing beside you if they only knew that you wanted to walk through a specific kind of door. And when we keep things to ourselves, when we don't share with people our hopes and dreams and the things that we want to accomplish, we actually block our blessings often, right?
100%.
We're not giving ourselves the opportunity to leverage and to collaborate with the people that are closest to us that can help us achieve these things out of maybe shame or some kind of whatever limiting thought process that says, oh, my dreams, maybe they're too big, or maybe my dreams are uncomfortable, and maybe they make the people around me uncomfortable. Well, here's the reality. If the size of your dreams are making the people around you uncomfortable, they need to leave. They do. because you're not going to achieve the things that you want to achieve if the energy around you is not willing to help you accomplish that. And so part of what you're going to be doing here, guys, is connecting the neural pathways mentally to help you find the relationships that are going to help you achieve the things that you want to achieve out of life. That's the facts. And you know, I've not gotten to this station in my life alone at all. I did nothing alone, from creating Keegly to astro flipping to the television show, social media success, all of this. None of this happened by myself, right?
No.
Even from my first video that got onto YouTube, you know, Bobby came over to my house one day in 2020 because we're bored. It was COVID and we had nothing to do. And he's like, let's start a YouTube channel, dude. And I was like, okay. And look at where we are, you know, and my whole world changed.
Props to Bobby. Props to Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. There's just, and the people in your world, the people around you will help you get the achievements that you're trying to unlock, but they need to know what those achievements are that you want.
Yes.
They need to understand that. And that's the only way that people will be able to help you get there, is if you give them an opportunity to know what you're trying to get to. Right.
And you share it. So one of the things I started, and you get to add a line when you come over for this vision board thing, was, it's a vision of a bucket list for other people's bucket list items, where people that come over, they get to add a thing to the bucket list. And I want to know, what's one thing you want to accomplish? If you can pick one thing, and let's put that out there, and let's see who else is on there and who's going to help you get to that one thing.
So what's the one thing that you want to accomplish, Dina?
Oh, well, it's my journal, so I got a lot of things on there. I got several entries, and we might reveal one or two on our next episode.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So guys, again, if you want to participate and you want us to bring you on to Title Talk in our next episode, where you will be able to showcase your vision board and explain where these images came from, why you selected them, why these are important to you, and share that with people so that we can help you accomplish this, you want to email Title Talk at fnf.com. In the subject line, write vision board party and explain, right? Maybe send a picture, whatever it is, to Dina.
Yeah, send us a picture. That'd be great. That's a great start, with your contact info, so that Bobby can do all the technical things behind the scenes, for sure.
Correct. Next, if you have not yet established a relationship with a title company that is helping you with your investor deals, whether that be wholesale transactions, creative finance transactions, even retail transactions, whatever those things are, you should absolutely communicate with Dina and get connected with a Fidelity National Title company or office in your local area. And you again would email Dina, titletalk@fnf.com. And in the subject line for that, right, title company connection, especially if you want to get connected to the most like badass team in Arizona. I specifically helped put together this like cool team of people that are just the greatest. That, you know, Dina's got, she got an escrow officer from here, person from here, and it's like they collaborate with my team at such a high level that they've all become friends. Like they enjoy working with each other so much because they know that everybody's there to help each other out. And again, we routinely close anywhere between 60 to 80 files a month just in my home states and my own corporate stores. But we have franchises across the country, and all of those offices have had an opportunity to work with the Fidelity office because of this deep relationship that we have. So guys, again, if you have not yet emailed Dina or have not yet found a relationship, or if like you're just like, man, my title, like for instance, whoever was talking about the fact that you got emailed a settlement statement the night before your closing, that's not okay, right? It's not. And it's not because your escrow officer sucks. It could
be a million other reasons.
Yeah,
it could be a million reasons. But if
so many things could be going on, right? Like we don't know, but it's your responsibility to find a better vendor.
And it's a new year. So if you need a refresh for a new relationship and
Yep.
and you want to give us a chance to earn your business, we would love that. We hope you guys are getting value from Title Talk. If there's ever things you want us to talk about on here, if you've got some great idea or a topic you'd like us to do a deep dive on, just let us know. Because we're super open. We are hoping to build the community around Title Talk with you. Invite your friends. Definitely, please share episodes with them that you think they would get value from. And we're just thankful that you're here. We are super excited for you to share your visions and that we can all help them come true together.
Absolutely, guys. And we're super grateful for, again, Fidelity for sponsoring Title Talk, for allowing us to come to you guys live every other week from either Arizona or wherever else the heck we are in the world. And we are excited to continue this into 2024, guys. So expect more Dina, more Jamil, more Title Talk, where we make title sexy. And until
yes,
the
we do.
yes, we'll see you then.
Bye, guys. Happy New